Hello, boys and girls, to ShockCast, episode 204. Yes. I'm going to go with episode 204. And we are jam-packed with DualShockers, or we've been trying to decide nicknames for either the staff or the people who come to our website. It's always been either Thunderbolts or Scumbags. But joining me, deputy editor, one of the founders of DualShockers.com, Mr. Joel Tavares. How are you, good sir?
Mr. Thunderbolt.
Mr. Thunderbolt. Oh, right. Yes, we're totally doing that. Joining me next, our video guy, our editor of videos, our Smash Brothers correspondent, and it's Ryan. Ryan Metzler, guys.
Hey, you had something nice about me to say for once.
I'll give it time. So. You've suffered a loss, so I'm gonna be nice to you this week.
I know.
And new blood, fresh face. Not quite looking at the camera, but it's okay. He'll learn. Ladies and gentlemen, weekend writer, Steven Santana. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me on.
Oh yeah, totally. We're always in need of a new person to make fun of, and I'm glad you're here. and Mr. Yaris will be popping in at some point. But Ryan, why don't you tell us what video games have came out, and came out? Video games, Ryan. Now.
So the first title for next week's releases are Silent Hills. Wait, no. So for the real releases coming April 26th to May 3rd, we have Kerbal Space Program for Linux, PC, Mac, and Linux, which is now so that's coming out of beta release, and now it's in its full release. It's an awesome game. Go check it out. Disney Infinity Marvel Superheroes for Android, Hitman Go for PC and Windows Phone for the 8 people that have Windows phones. Shadowrun Chronicles Boston Lockdown for PC, State of Decay Year 1 Survival Edition for Xbox One and PC, Omega Quintet for PS4, Broken Age for PS4 and Vita, Project Root for PS Vita, PS4 and Xbox One, Sketchcross for PS Vita, WWE 2K15 for PC, Tropico 5 for PS4, Risk for PS3, Paranormal Pursuit, the Gifted One for PS3, some game called just Brawl for PS4, I don't know what that is, but Paper Mario for Wii U, Amiibo Tap, Nintendo's Greatest Bits for Wii U, and then just because the week after that, there's not a lot of games, we'll do for May 3rd to May 10th. There's Wolfenstein: The Old Blood for PS4, Xbox One, and PC, High Strangeness for PC, Mac, and Linux, and Project Cars for PS4, Xbox One, and PC. It's finally coming out, guys. It's coming out.
Yay! I'm gonna go with I wasn't really listening, so. Paper Mario, that was one of them, right?
That was one of them, yeah.
Okay, Joel?
Maybe, I guess, checking out Project Cars. I saw that trailer. It looked really nice.
It's a nice-looking car game.
A nice-looking car game.
We've kind of seen it already. And Steven, it's very important. The part of the game that we're playing here is you have to choose a game from Ryan's list for no reason whatsoever outside of just picking a game, and then explaining to us why you chose that game. And then we judge you silently on your choice. Or out loud, but I mean, it just kind of depends on our mood.
So do I get first choice, first draft?
Pick whatever you want, man. If someone picked it already, by all means, you can pick it again. If you have a better reason, we will give you that game instead.
I would say Wolfenstein: The Old Blood.
Okay. Were you a fan of the original Wolfenstein?
Yes.
World Order, New Order?
Yeah, the New Order. I was a big fan of the New Order. Went into it not expecting much out of it, but I went into it and played through the entire thing, and it's actually very lengthy. It's a very long single-player game, which I like. I like my single-player shooters long, unlike Call of Duty's 6-hour campaigns that you can beat in a day. And it was really good, actually. The story was actually kind of touching a bit. Like, you kind of connect with BJ. He kind of has like these weird whispers that will go on in his head when you're going through like the slower moments where you're climbing through the sewers or kind of exploring the world, and like he kind of has like these subtle like post-stress or not whatever they call the post-traumatic stress disorder where like he's he's kind of like dealing with the whole experience of going through World War II and then kind of being in a coma for like 40 years, and I really liked it. So the Old Blood is basically going back to the World War II, which I like because nobody does World War II games anymore, at least not on like the big AAA level, which I miss. And so it's going back to that. It's the same great gameplay that the New Order had, and it's just kind of like this little expansion, but it's also a standalone because you don't need the New Order for it. And it's only $20, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Worth a risk. I mean, I think tonally that game was something else just because I played it maybe 2 or 3 times at preview events, and all I got to play was the World War II section in the beginning.
Oh.
And I'm just like, oh my god, it's more Wolfenstein and we're shooting robot Nazis, what the fuck? And then when I actually got the game and you got past the asylum and you're doing after the coma thing, and it's like, the levels are semi-open, and like you mentioned, the story's like kind of touching, and it takes like a weird tonal shift outside of like, oh, but you punch the robot dog in the face too. Oh man, we have to defeat the Nazis because they took over the world. It's really weird, and we skipped Ryan because
Well, I was gonna go with the Wolfenstein: The Old Blood until Steven stole it from me. So no, it's okay. It's fine. No, actually, I have for the opposite reason because I never played New Order, and I keep hearing how good that is. So I think I definitely want to try and jump into New Order and Old Blood, like when I get a chance, I can play those. So. But right now, Yaris keeps yelling at me because I have to play The Witcher, so I'm probably gonna have to get to that soon. So I was like,
you don't have to start on the first one for that, though.
I know, but I'm a completionist. Like I have to play everything. So
okay,
I don't know, but
whatever. And quickly, let's go back to Mr. Steven here. Steven, let's talk about is DualShockers your first writing gig, or what experience do you have covering video games? Just out of curiosity, because I've actually never met you. So let's call this segment "Get to Know Steven."
Thank you. So basically, it was at the end of 2012 is where I kind of was like, all right, I want to do something as far as like talking and writing and doing videos on video games. And so I started doing that on my own Tumblr blog. From there, I kind of started expanding, and then I started doing video stuff with my friends on YouTube and doing a podcast that we would do by ourselves. And then in late 2014 was when I first started to do freelance work, and so I worked for Load the Game as like a freelance writer during the holiday season, and then I worked at a very small place called B10, which then transformed into Current Digital Magazine, and they're more feature-oriented than news stuff, but I mostly did news stuff for them. And then now DualShockers is basically my third one, and by far the most big and prolific and stuff. So.
Yes, that would be the 2 words to best describe DualShockers as big and prolific.
And the third word is George.
And George. But you're digging it so far, because usually no one wants to do this for that long. Like we get to ask Joel. There's a point where people just get jaded and cynical, and
they're just
we see a trailer for video games, and we're like. Oh, great! More robots, awesome. But
no,
ancient aliens. Oh, great!
Kojima, what are you doing? Really? Like
my warnings in my inbox are just delete. Maybe I'll just delete this.
No, I haven't gotten to that part yet. There are little things that I'll be like, I'm a little bit cynical about it. The most recent example would actually be that Star Wars Battlefront trailer that came out. I was very cynical in my reaction to that, being like, no, this is not what it's going to look like. Like, why is everyone getting excited? This is clearly like a cinematic that they used the game engine for.
Well,
so,
I know you guys beat that one into the ground last week with the whole Star Wars podcast.
Our reaction was more excitement that, like, oh my god, this is a real project and this is proof that they're actually working on it, than us actually going like, that's the real game. I knew it. And we're like, we kind of said like, oh no, they're doing a Killzone 2 on us, which we don't care, just because we just know like, okay, they're working on something and they're comfortable enough to show us. So when they announced the release, we're like, okay, this like the nerd in us was like, we're hopeful, maybe.
It's gonna be really cute at E3 when Dice is on stage holding a PS4 controller. And then you follow the cable, and it's connected to like a PC that's actually powered by another PC inside of it.
Or you see
it's actually another PC.
You see the mouse cursor in the corner of the screen.
Yeah.
So this is I don't know what you're talking about.
Like, bro, but this is what we're shooting for. This is our target. We're gonna hit this on PS4. Yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah, totally. But no, I'm not quite cynical yet. Maybe I'll get there eventually, but no, I give
it a week.
Wait till someone just posts Women's Finest Wrestling on all your posts, and
okay.
Yeah, that's it. Come to DualShocker for YouTube videos in the comments about women's wrestling's finest.
Latest wrestling news.
Yes, and but Steven, but welcome. We're glad to have you here as part of the DualShocker extended family, and good luck.
Thanks.
And the next segment that I want to call hashtag WTF Konami or Kunami. Ryan was trying to correct me earlier because I keep calling him Konami because I always call him Konami. I don't know why, but he's like, no, it's Konami.
Konami.
Oh well, Konami is fucking up. So let's start with the tragic news that happened over the weekend. That first we found out that Guillermo del Toro was no longer working with Konami on Silent Hills, and we're like, all right, whatever. He's just a person whose name was attached to a game. And then we found out that Silent Hills was just axed completely. I don't know who to give this to. Who's more upset? Ryan. Here, why don't you explain what happened? I know you have an in with the Konami executive, so just explain to me what happened here.
Not at all. But anyway, no. Actually, I was really looking forward to Silent Hills ever since they had PT last year, and they announced it's going to be Hideo Kojima, Guillermo del Toro, Norman Reedus was going to be in it, and it's going to be awesome, but it's not going to happen. So basically, what happened was all of this seems like it's pretty much fallout from the whole spat that Kojima's kind of been having with Konami, where they said that he was leaving, and they're still kind of weird about that, like whether he's actually leaving or not. But clearly this is kind of like fallout from that, because after he had after they kind of said he was going to leave, they took the Kojima Productions logos and like all reference to him working on the project off. Then last weekend Guillermo del Toro said that the project was basically not going to happen. And then Norman Reedus, the actor from Walking Dead that's going to be in the game, also sent out a tweet saying that, sorry guys, it's probably not going to happen, etc. And then Konami finally came out yesterday and they just flat out said it's not going to happen. But that they are going to continue working on other games in the Silent Hill series, but just not this one, that this one's getting canceled.
I like the phrasing that they used. Sorry, the phrasing that they used was it was in a embryonic stage when they decided to cancel it.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, clearly from what, because we hadn't actually seen any of the game other than like PT obviously was going to be very different from what the final game was probably going to look like. Because I always thought that you don't hire Norman Reedus and then have him be first person for the entire game. So obviously it was probably going to be a third person game. The only other thing they saw was at TGS they had like a concept demo trailer, which is a kind of a video just to show what the game would kind of look and be like. And it was terrifying too. But I mean, clearly the game was still early enough that they could kind of axe it and not take a big financial risk. Like, I feel like if the game had been in some form of development or like had some progress done on it, they might consider, okay, we'll give it to someone else, or we'll bring in more developers to kind of finish it. But I think the game was probably barely even started development at all. So I'm sure they were just like, nope, we'll just cut it and get rid of it.
Pre-alpha. In a sense.
Yeah. If it was lucky. So
yeah.
And even if pre-alpha, you can still put it on Steam for early access, though.
True.
Yeah, but I mean,
it is cynicism. See, I knew it. I like this guy.
It is a big shame, just because, like, I think especially with PT, like all the excitement that it drummed up for the game, and to all of a sudden just have it kind of be all done was really sad. But at least the thing is, like, I'm glad that at least they were direct about it and said that it's canceled rather than drag it out like a Last Guardian, where they're like, oh, it's coming eventually, and they just never working on it. So.
Well, we know that every year at E3 during Sony's press conference,
they devote
45 seconds, and it's either Kaz Hirai or I love when Kaz Hirai's like, it's like, or Shuhei will come out and be like, "We are working on Last Guardian. Goodbye. Thank you." That's it. And then people go nuts, and then we're like, "Okay, great. Last Guardian's being worked on, I guess." So
it's
how dare you?
It's by the same team that's working on the Final Fantasy VII remake too, right? Obviously, I mean,
Yes.
Oh, Ryan with sick burns today. And then we should also mention, because you mentioned PT, parentheses, playable teaser, is being delisted from the PlayStation Store because it was technically the teaser demo for Silent Hill, so no sense to keep it on there.
Yeah, I'm sure that's part of that too, but their official state was that the distribution period ended, but I'm sure it probably has to do with, the whole game being removed. So it actually will be removed tomorrow, April 29th, so if you want to download it, you should go do it now before it's gone forever, so.
Only if you're having problems going through the bathroom is the only reason you should download that demo.
Yeah.
If you really want to poop yourself, it's good for that, so.
It's the best advertisement for Depends.
Yeah.
And speaking of D-list, fun fact. And look, that was a great segue, by the way. Good job, George. In a quick piece that Joel wrote, and I'm going to do here because I'm going to bring a special guest to explain what the hell delisting means. But Joel, why don't you take this over and kind of tell them what the hell Konami just did as I futz and go find our special guest.
I'm more excited for the special guest to give us the full real breakdown.
All right, you know what, Joel? You know, I will give this next couple minutes to yourself. You take the floor, talk about whatever you want. All right, consider yourself the elevator music of the podcast. You know,
sing, Joel, sing.
It's not overly intrusive, but important.
All I did was just regurgitate what Konami had put out on that PDF file that they put on their Japanese press site. Just letting
You're doing great.
Just letting people know that that they would be delisting the company from the New York Stock Exchange. Now, this does not remove them from London or Tokyo exchanges. Apparently, after digging in further, I found that something like 98% of all trading for Konami shares had actually happened outside of the U.S. to begin with. So I guess, again, it could be just to not report these numbers over to
explain what the hell delisting means.
Over to Securities Exchange Commissions and investors in the U.S. That's pretty much it. All right, we're done. Actually, George, you missed the whole thing.
Oh, great. I brought a special guest because we started talking about finances, and I realized none of us here know what we're talking about.
Nope.
So I decided to enlist the help of my girlfriend, but also reporter for The Deal and Street.com. What are your outlets again? I'm sorry.
This is The Deal.
TheDeal.com, where you cover bankruptcy, restructuring. So the question we have for you, since you're technically an expert within arm's reach, is what the hell does it mean when a company delists itself from the New York Stock Exchange?
So typically when a company is delisted by a prestigious exchange like the New York Stock Exchange or the NASDAQ, it's not ever a good thing. It's typically because the company missed some type of financial reporting deadline, or there was some type of impropriety or something. The fact that the Konami, right? I don't know.
Konami? Yeah, do we agree on a pronunciation? Yeah.
Konami,
That works.
Okay, sure. Delisted itself could either mean that they're trying to get ahead of something, or it could really mean nothing. They're still going to be trading in London and Japan, and they haven't really said anything in their SEC documents to indicate that there's going to be some type of bankruptcy filing or anything really negative like that. But it's definitely not a good sign. The way they're going to be trading now in the U.S. is over the counter, which is like the really shitty stocks that were traded at the beginning of Wolf of Wall Street.
Penny stocks.
Penny stocks. So it's definitely not a good thing, but
it doesn't mean like the ship is sinking or anything like that.
Right. I mean, it's certainly not a great sign, but it doesn't necessarily mean that things are just going to implode right away.
Awesome.
So from what I read, that they're going to have one last report. That they will let investors know, one last quarterly earnings report. I think it's the first week of May, but then after that they go dark, right? So they're not obligated to release information to U.S. investors after, I guess, July 12th when it's all official, right?
Correct. I mean, they said in some of their SEC filings that they're going to try to keep investors in the U.S. informed, but it's basically up to them how much information they want to put out at this point. Just because they're not going to be beholden to any of the SEC regulations. So we'll see if they actually give any information and if this actually is the bad sign that I think it is.
As an investor, I'd be like, wait, what? You're not going to tell me what's going on? Oh, that's kind of crazy.
It definitely doesn't look good.
Okay. All right.
So hope that helps.
And you guys, any questions before I let her go to watching Bravo or whatever she's doing?
No. I'm good. I'm good.
Bye, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for coming on.
From TheStreetAndTheDeal.com.
Bye.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, it's again, I didn't want to paint a doom and gloom picture when I did when I was talking about the news itself. I wanted to keep it as factual as possible, but whenever you read anything like that, it just never sounds too promising.
Yeah, and also, and the timing of it seemed just like it just hit them all bad things at once. So it's
been a rough.
Leaving and then PT going, and it's like for as far as we know, they could have been planning this for months, and it was just kind of like really bad timing for all parties involved.
I think wasn't the delisting, wasn't it from like April 1st? I think it was like earlier in the month, and now this was kind of like when they announced it. I thought it was early this month that they kind of filed it.
Yeah, it was requested earlier in the month. But then they waited until the 24th to tell, I guess, investors or just tell everybody in general, and then it goes official. They go dark on July 12th. I don't know. After all, like the drama going on with Kojima and everything within the company, I'm wondering. And again, you know what's so crazy is like all these game companies. They all suffer from like mismanagement in terms of finances and shipping games, and I just don't understand. Like, I think I have to become a video game producer so I could just be on people's tracks. Like, let's ship this. This is the budget. Let's finish the game.
Well, the thing is, I think when video games are not like your main source of revenue, I think that's when we start seeing companies get mismanaged. Because like we think of Sony, but Sony has all these like arms to it where it's like, oh, we've got TVs, we've got real estate, we've got like shitty laptops. But you think Konami, and like Konami makes most of their money doing like health spas in Japan. So
they also like their other big things they've been pushing into have been mobile games, and they also do a lot of game like so they do slot machines and things like that. So they do have other sources of revenue, and then honestly I think are probably being more beneficial for them than video games at the moment, because they really like they have and they also they have a lot of pretty like fairly valuable IP that they just have other than Metal Gear. I mean, obviously Metal Gear is their biggest, but they have Castlevania, they have Silent Hill, but a lot of them they just haven't really been doing a lot with. Like Silent Hill, like other than Silent Hills, they've been the more recent games have been kind of like most of them pretty mediocre. And Castlevania has also been a little up and down too, where they've had some good and bad ones.
Well, Lords of Shadow,
but Metal Gear is probably the only like consistent like moneymaker for them, or at least the biggest IP that they have.
Right, and someone put it in perspective in terms of like the revenue, and you mentioned the gambling machines. Think about it like, right, shipping your average AAA titles anywhere between like $30 and $60 million, right? And then you got to sell $1 million. You got to sell 1 million copies to make 30, right? So let's say you spent 30 to make this game. You got to sell 1 million copies to break even, and then anything else, you're hoping that's revenue in the bank. Now with those gambling machines, they're wholesaling them to like Parks Casino and Grand at like $20,000 a pop. A machine, because these are commercial machines that are built to last years in a casino, from a lot of abuse and drinks being spilled on them and cigarette butts being put out on them.
Leasing them, so it's just guaranteed revenue every month.
Literally guaranteed revenue, and then on top of that, there's companies that handle the maintenance for you. You don't even have to maintain them. Like that's absurd. You're literally just shipping a hardware product and making stupid margins on it. So yeah, I would say, why not, ship these $20,000, $30,000 machines and just make stupid money off of them? And they're guaranteed bets. It's nowhere near as risky as what video games are or what they have become. They're so expensive to make, and you have to sell a certain amount to make your money back. The return on investment, if it's not there, you got to move on.
So Joel, let me ask you this: since you're our soothsayer, and you make these wild predictions, that I think you have a fairly good you have a good batting average as far.
My track record's not bad, right?
Your track record's good. I mean, and I feel like your track record would be good if you had common sense, and I feel like Joel has plenty of common sense, so you're good. So, do you think, because Ryan mentioned that they have all these like very valuable IPs, and of course the internet's reaction is the same reaction, and why don't you just sell the IPs to Sony?
I love that. Why don't you just?
Yeah, why don't you just sell it? It's you have a piece of paper. Here you go.
You make it sound like it's fucking Pokemon cards. Like I hate that when I read that shit online.
Here, Castlevania. Here, I got my here's all our Castlevanias. Here,
here's a 3 eyes dragon.
Oh, that's right. They own Yu-Gi-Oh! I totally forgot about that.
Oh shit! That was just a fucking guess. That's just a random tie-in. I don't even know how that.
I forgot. Yeah, they do. They do own Yu-Gi-Oh!
That's so stupid. That was not my intent at all.
and we kind of have to treat these. We have to treat these IPs the way like movie studios treat their IPs, where it's just like, why can't just Marvel buy Fantastic Four and Spider-Man back? Because
Marvel can't say the word fucking mutant in a movie.
Yeah. Because you know why? Sony's Fox is smart.
I'm not even trying to drop F-bombs right now. I'm sorry.
Fox is X-Men, right?
Yeah, Fox's
yeah.
X-Men, and they just got Spider-Man back from Sony, so.
So yeah, it's like, no, they're not going to sell the IPs because the IPs are just sitting around not doing anything is worth money to them, and they're not going to get rid of them. So Joel, my question for you: do you think that Konami's next step now, because now let's talk about video game development. Do you think they'll take the Capcom approach and kind of look at what IPs they have and see who can we farm this franchise to take over, and will they do like a Ninja Theory thing where they did it with Devil May Cry and said, all right, here's a studio.
I honestly thought that was really cool. I don't see Konami doing that. Konami's like one of the last big Japanese. I mean, besides it's Square, Capcom, and them, right? And they're like one of the last big Japanese companies in Japan right now. The mobile market. And don't tell this to Giuseppe, he's not going to be happy about this. But the mobile market is dominating over there right now. It's sick. Like, that's why Square Enix's long-term plan is that streaming engine that they're working on. They're really going to push hard mobile, like, down the road. But,
well, that's why Nintendo's going mobile, too.
Yeah, finally. They're not
and they
doing
already started with the Puzzles and Dragons crossover with Mario.
And that felt like more shareholder pressure on Nintendo because they've been bothering Nintendo for years and goes, why don't you just put your games on on the mobile store? And to them, it's like you're shooting yourself in your own foot because then you're competing with your own handheld. But it's like, you know what? You have these classic games that don't appear anywhere. Like why you don't have to shoot yourself in the foot where you can have all your new fancy stuff come on your handheld while you have people will pay $1 for Super Mario
because the shareholders are commuting. The shareholders are
exactly.
Are noticing that this is where, at least in Japan, it's really a big cultural shift. Mobile's very heavy right now. So, if anything, I don't see Konami spinning off console development to other studios the way that happened with Capcom. Yeah, I don't see that. Maybe they'll spin off to other mobile studios and put out their IPs on mobile products.
That makes sense.
That I'm more in line with. I think that's more something that they'd be interested in exploring, only because... Again, I know that in Japan it's getting so mobile heavy. It's kind of crazy right now.
So you think that once Metal Gear Solid 5, the Phantom Pain releases, that's maybe Konami's last big AAA game, and they're just going to stick to their Pro Evolution Soccer, because that quietly makes them that quietly sells really well too for them.
Yeah,
and that's just an annualized game where they have the template for, so it's that it's a sports game, so it's just like just release and update the rosters. That's the most cynical way of saying it, but sure, that makes them guarantee money because that doesn't cost them too much. Really, you're just paying for the licenses to use teams. So it becomes a matter of do we want more leagues in here? Not okay. People still buy it. Not a big issue. Right. But yeah, I'm curious to see what they're gonna do. I would love to see they said they are working on more Silent Hill projects. Does that mean they're going to be mobile? I mean, there is a market for adventure games in the Apple Store. There's a whole ton of them, games like The Room, stuff like that. I could see that happening.
I can see them following a template like what the people at Telltale do on cell phones with Silent Hill, big time. And be a more story-driven Silent Hill experience. I don't know, but
Silent Hill has always been about atmosphere. Not necessarily it's not a game that's ever played well, and it's a game with a really clunky menu. But what really gets people is the atmosphere and being scared.
Absolutely.
And if you can nail that, it doesn't even matter what platform you release it on.
Absolutely. So that's the whole thing. So I really see them making that push on mobile games. I know people don't want to hear that. I don't like talking about it, but it is what it is, and I think that's the culture that they're that company's from, and that's just what's going to work for them.
And they always have Metal Gear in their back pocket.
Always, whenever they want.
They can give it a couple. So to me, that just means we're going to get a couple more remasters of Metal Gear.
Yeah, that's easy, and that's something you can farm out to any team and get it done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, also because especially if Kojima's leaving, they can probably have a little bit more of an accelerated development cycle and get them out a little faster. Because obviously because obviously the other Metal Gear games were more under Kojima's wing, and he's the kind of guy that you have to give him time to do what he needs to do.
And he's not even just leaving; he's leaving Fox Engine.
Yeah.
It's fine. I mean, you can. I'm sure you can find another wackadee Japanese person who loves food to make a Metal Gear game. Like, I think that's the secret sauce of crazy you need to make a Metal Gear game. And I'm sure
But
Japan is
do people want to play the Metal Gear without Kojima? Because if Kojima leaves, I'm probably not going to play Metal Gear anymore.
That's the thing. Yeah.
The thing is, what is Kojima really bringing to the table? He's to me, he seems more like a manager and getting everything together. Yeah, he writes and directs, but I mean, he's writing a fantasy military anime that's with crazy nonsense inside.
But I think more so than but I mean, like, I feel like he's really like that series in particular is like his baby, and it's like,
but Metal Gear has its own established lore, so it's like you can literally just put this in the lap of someone else, and it's like, well, you know the tone of Metal Gear, it's kind of nuts. Can you do crazy? And be like, yeah, I could do crazy. And it's some guy with long hair and sunglasses, and he came to work on a scooter. Like, yeah, he can do it. Like, I think we're putting Kojima on like such a high pedestal. Like, yeah, I think he's an industry titan and he's super creative, but I don't think.
No, I'm not saying it can't be done. Like, I'm sure it can be, but I feel like just especially with the fan base around that series, that like he is like the figurehead of that that series, and that like.
I think Suda 51 has enough bag of crazy in him.
Oh man, a Suda 51 Metal Gear Solid. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
It will be nice though, because Kojima is very creative, so it will be good to see him kind of like unchained from Metal Gear, because he's kind of been almost forced to do Metal Gear for so long for Konami. Now he's just gonna do whatever he wants.
That was the biggest reason I was looking forward to Silent Hills, is because I was looking forward to seeing him do something different, and especially him and Guillermo del Toro was a really I feel like it was a really cool combo, especially because Guillermo del Toro, this is now the second time that he's had a game canceled on him, and
is Guillermo del Toro the kiss of death as far as game development is concerned? Like,
I don't think it's been twice.
No, I mean, he's such a good fit for especially a horror game. Like, he would probably do a fantastic game, but it's just I feel like it's just bad luck around him, where his previous game was Insane was I think being done under THQ, and that's when they folded, was around that time. So
yeah. And then this one, and then they mysteriously get delisted. Yeah, he worked on something else. What was the third game he worked on? Or supposed to work on?
No, he hasn't worked on a third one yet, but 3 times is when it'll establish a trend.
Yeah.
Or it'll be an expectation now.
I think he'll just be like, fuck it, we'll do I'm sorry, screw it, we'll do a Pacific Rim game, and then we'll do a Pacific Rim game, and then it'll get canceled on him, and he can't even get that off the ground.
You're here first,
I also think that Kojima could totally still do Silent Hills, separate from Konami. Not call it Silent Hills, but it's basically the same atmosphere as PT, and it's kind of like
spiritual successor or something.
Yeah, I don't think it's probably not. I feel like it's like the hype that PT generated for the game, and just the excitement around it. I feel like they really can't. It's going to be really difficult for them to even get that
Kickstarter. Like Inafune did with Mighty Number 9, which is coming out. He could do almost the same route that Inafune did.
They could. I feel like Guillermo del Toro doesn't need to do that. I feel like he has enough of a reputation and kind of a he can get it done. I think it's just finding the right business negotiations where a studio won't close on him or delist or any of the other craziness that's happened on him. So it's unfortunate, but
maybe he at one point worked on The Last Guardian.
I hope. I don't know. It'd be awesome.
I would love that. All right, are we done with Kojima, Metal Gear, and Konami?
Yeah, I'm mad at you.
But yeah, good luck, Konami. I hope you list yourself again.
Put it down.
Put it down. Just get on the list, man. I want to trade your stocks. I have these stocks. Nothing to do with them now. That's not true. I don't have stock in Konami. Full disclosure. Next, let's talk about another company screwing up. Valve. Hey, Valve. You guys are awesome. So last week, I believe, they did an update to Steam and came paid mods, where people can create content and charge the community for them. So if I made a cool hat in Skyrim, I can charge you $1 for that hat. Valve keeps 75%, and I get 20. But fine, it's volume, If 1 million people bought it, I'd be good. As you can imagine, the community did not react the way... Actually, the community reacted the exact way you thought the community was going to react. Yeah. So let's just say they were upset. upset enough to start petitions. I wrote a brief article about the two most popular mods was a person doing in-game protest signs, say free the mods in Skyrim, and the other person wrote a entirely new title screen for Skyrim with the big words exploitation, and he sang the song about Valve being greedy all on the Skyrim main menu where you pick new game continue. It is amazing. I wish I could set that up and play it for you guys, but yeah, it's intense. Yeah, it's intense, and they were not charging for it. But yeah, Steam, Steam Valve, Gabe went on an AMA and said that pissing off the internet could easily cost you millions in a weekend, which is probably true. So they took the feature off. If you paid for any content, you got refunded. Let me see if I can pull any quotes here, unless you guys have anything there. But I think Giuseppe wrote about it. He about the 180, blah, blah, blah. We're going to remove the payment feature from the Skyrim Workshop. For anyone who spent money on the mod, we'll be refunding you a complete amount. We've talked to the team at Bethesda, and they agree. We've done this because it's clear we didn't understand exactly what we were doing. We've been shipping many features over the years and aimed at allowing community creators to receive a share of the rewards. And in the past, they've been received well. It's obvious that now this case is different. And yeah, I would say so. So I remember I brought this question up to the community at I asked the Thunderbolts or the scumbags. I'm trying to figure which one I like more. But it was just a case of gamer entitlement where since this was free last week and now I have to pay for something, is that the issue, or was the issue just kind of like poorly mismanaged on a kind of business model end on Valve? Panel, go. Joel, tell me.
I'm not sure if it was poorly mismanaged on the business part of Valve. I'm just thinking the reason they reneged when they realized, well, wait a minute, we're not grabbing enough off the top here. I'm sorry, that's the only thing. I don't know. That's
so. Are you saying they weren't making enough to justify the headache?
Yeah.
They just said, you know what, it's not even worth it, even though we are taking 75% of what people are paying for.
Yeah.
Well, I think Gabe said they only made like $10,000 so far out of it. So not, I mean, granted, that's for one game, like in 1 week. So obviously, if they extended this to, however many titles to like all games on Steam, they could probably make some pretty significant amounts of money on it. But I'm glad that they only did it with Skyrim first and not did it with like a whole bunch of titles, because can you imagine how much of a mess it would have been if it were like, so especially some of their more popular games like TF2 and Counter-Strike and
5 newly released. If they were selling content, like if people were making stuff for that, I'm wondering what was the pushback from the developers themselves.
The modders themselves, or
with Bethesda. It seems like Bethesda was kind of like on board with the paid mod support.
Bethesda was,
and I don't know if
Bethesda was a 4-year-old game.
Yeah, that's true. Did Bethesda get I would assume Bethesda gets some sort of cut.
Yeah. Well, I think that out of the 75% that Steam takes, I think that's kind of split between Steam and the developer as well. So it's kind of like out of that 75%, they divvy it up to whoever it needs to go to.
Yeah,
Gabe claimed that the developers Bethesda had set up the percentage of the take that they would get, and so they decided that they would be 60%. Valve would get, 65%. Valve would get 15%, and then the modder itself would get the remaining 20%. And then from there, that's how the financials were split.
That's not bad. I mean, like Joel said, it's a 4-year-old game. They're not making any more content for it, so it's not like stepping on their toes or anything.
I think Valve didn't like their percent.
You think, is that what happened? You think that Bethesda got too much?
Yeah. I'm sorry. It was probably for this to work. It probably has to be like 80% take for them. They'll split that 40-40. This is a business, guys.
Because Valve's think about it. Valve's not doing anything in this transaction. Valve is just facilitating.
Yes, they're the platform. So how much do they make off of Steam games? Does anybody know that? I don't know how much they make off of a regular Steam game.
I figure if they're as bad as Apple, because I know Apple takes, I believe they take 60 to 80 something cents off the dollar off the App Store, depending on what you have worked out. So yeah, anyone who's selling a game for $1, they're hoping the game sells 10 million copies because they're only seeing like 20 to 40 cents if they really got a good lawyer off each app sale. So
that's crazy.
So yeah,
I would have thought only like a third of like the. Hey, wow.
Well, because where else could you go?
Right, it started that way. It started where it was like, hey, we're only going to take 5%. Hey, we're only going to take 10%. Hey, we're only going to take 20%. Hey,
it got more popular.
Right. And that's just how it is. You know,
I think it was mostly community pushback is what made Valve change their decision. Because Bethesda actually had a quicker turnaround than Valve did. Because Bethesda because it happened today, right? That they took off the paid stuff.
Yeah. I think it was today or yesterday. It was
late last night.
Okay, because I remember yesterday I read a news story about Bethesda published a press letter saying why they decided to do paid mods on Skyrim and stuff. And then this morning is when they put out another newsletter, or an employee came out saying, oh, well, Bethesda decided that because of the community, we're no longer going to do this. So it was that was actually an even quicker turnaround than Valve going okay, we're introducing paid. Oh, wait, no, we're no longer doing that. Okay,
so bigger question. Do you think Valve brings paid mod support back?
Not for a while.
I think they will. I think this is just kind of them dipping their toes in the water a little bit to see how it would go, But I'm sure they're gonna try and figure out a way to make it work, even if the community doesn't like it. Obviously, clearly they don't, but it's probably gonna happen. So.
Yeah, I don't think the community I don't think they even like the concept of anything behind a paywall.
Yeah.
And and I mentioned earlier, we've had 4 years of free content, and now all of a sudden you're like, wait, why should I pay $1 for this piece of armor I bought 3 months ago?
Well, I don't even think it's so much that, but I think it's just because modding is such a central part of PC gaming just in general, and just because it's kind of that community that's kind of exclusive to PC gaming versus console gaming. Yeah. And I feel like now a lot of people kind of feel like, wait, now you're going to be charging me for this, when this is something that's very community oriented and all that. Even though modding itself is kind of murky because you're using content from another studio or another developer. You're not making most of the time you're not making original content, you're just kind of reworking or tweaking things, for an already made game,
Or making it work better than the developer had it.
Yeah, but I mean, you're essentially, you're already using the code and assets from, from another game, so even that still kind of borders some questionable lines, I think, with copyright and all that sort of thing.
So Ryan, do you think it was more the idea of you look at it now, it's wait, now this is just DLC. Now this is just DLC. I might as well just get an Xbox or a PlayStation if I'm gonna be piecemealing content in here.
Sort of, yeah. I think the way I saw it was more of Valve kind of threatening, hey, modding is this this big part of PC gaming, but now it's another. I think a lot of people saw it as kind of a intrusion on this very specific community in PC gaming, and now we're gonna nickel and dime you for that. So.
See, I always found it because it wasn't Valve nickel and diming you; it was telling the creators, hey, you can charge people for the stuff you create, and that's the way I saw it. If I spent 300 hours doing retexturing a Riften or Skyhold or something, and I put 200 some odd hours and really focusing on a team of guys working on it. Yeah, if I want to charge $5 for it, I should have every right to charge $5.
Yeah, I think that is kind of the devil's advocate kind of argument, I feel for it, because if these guys, if they want these developers that make content for mods and things like that, if they try to go and sell this on their own, most likely they would get sued, or they would get some kind of cease and desist for doing that on their own, because it's hey, you're charging for content that's in our game that we made, but now Valve is legitimizing it and providing a way for content creators like that to make money. So there are good and bad arguments for and against it. I think it's just obviously, Valve maybe needs to approach it in a different way, or find one way that my friend kind of suggested. I was talking to a friend of mine about it today, and he said, I think opening it up more to something more like a donation system or a tip system, I think would maybe be a better option, because then it's optional. Because then you're not forcing people to pay for the content. You can have people say, hey, if you want, you can throw in $1 or $2 or whatever as a donation for this.
And there are websites, there are websites. There are websites that you can donate, but you have to go through PayPal and stuff like that. But since Valve is so easy, you already have a credit card attached to your Steam account, so it's hey, you know what? It's easy for me to tip this guy $1, $5, $10, because all it is one little button here. I'm not taking out my credit card or going into some really schemy website or something.
Yeah, but then how much of that donation does Valve get? Because then
Listen,
the problem
Steven. Listen, I was making taco hats in Team Fortress for free, all right? Now I'm getting 25 cents a hat. I'm good with that. To me, this encourages more people to do modding.
Steven,
Fallout 4, when it gets announced, we know it's going to get announced. I mean, hopefully that's what Bethesda's holding their own conference at E3. This would be awesome.
Yeah, like Steven said though, I think if they did implement a kind of Patreon system or something like that, I think that could maybe be a different way to approach it, where it's you're opting into this rather than forcing people to do it. They have the choice to do it, which I think is maybe the better way to do it. But
I see the problem with that is me, the content creator, holding certain content hostage, where it's yeah, I would totally make a better UI, but not until you guys give me $4,000. Waiting on it. I mean, a screenshot of what it was gonna make. No, you know what? I'm upping that to 10.
I mean, the only other, because a lot of Patreons that I've seen, a lot of other creators do is they'll do kind of their own early access thing. So maybe they could do a system where it's if you subscribe or donate to this creator, you get this content earlier than you would normally if it were just out in the wild or whatever. So that's again. I mean, there's obviously there's a lot of problems with with the solutions to this kind of system. So it's just a matter of figuring out what works and makes people not as angry.
Or you take the Call of Duty map DLC approach, where it's hey, you know what? For 6 months you have to pay for this, and then after this one it's free.
Yeah.
They used to do it all the time for all the old Halo maps. So it's hey, if you want to get these immediately, go right in. And then 6 months down the road, when a new expansion or something come out, all this other mod stuff is free. So maybe you can put time limits on certain DLC where it's hey, once you charge for this and once your time expires, you're done charging people for this content.
Speaking of time limits, all right, so after this all went live, did anybody check to see if there were any changes made to the EULA agreements or anything like that, and how long you're actually owning the software for now that a 5-year-old game is a 4-year-old game, whatever, is now getting this add-on support? I'm wondering, I'm just wondering, I'm wondering if that changed in any way,
I would imagine.
Did they realize holy crap, these people actually can only own this game for another 5 more years? What's going to happen with transactions? What's that blowback going to look like? I'm wondering.
What if Bethesda pulled a Konami and started delisting and went belly up, and it's well, you technically can't make any more money on this because this company doesn't exist because the blah 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 blah.
Right, because you don't own the rights to it. I don't know. I'm wondering if that.
I think if that had happened, it would have shown up somewhere on Reddit or NeoJaf or something. Somebody would have noticed it, in the terms of service for Steam. They try to log in, and it's now you got to agree to the new terms of service, and someone's why? And then they go through it. So.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because we're getting into that age of digital rights management where these are going to be issues 10 to 15 years from now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And now you've invested money in all these funny looking hats for Skyrim, and
now I can't use them. This is bullshit. I bought George's taco hat to put on my warrior, and now I can't put this on. Who do I write to?
You just logged into Naked Skyrim yesterday. Now you can't log on anymore.
They don't have clothes on. This is bullshit. What the hell?
This wasn't my original vision.
But this is funny. This ties into the whole, like you said, the digital rights and and what you actually own. And
you own nothing.
You own that, right?
You own nothing.
You're
paying me for the pleasure of playing my game.
Just for right now. Just enjoy this moment. Enjoy this moment.
Yeah, live in the present, guys. You're so worried.
So that's a question kind of actually going back to PT is people who say purchase PT, are they going to be able to re-download it later on, or is the file going to be gone? Because I've seen that question.
I don't know. I just had an app delete itself from my iPhone, and I can't get it because I'm in the United States. So I'm wondering if this thing kind of applies.
That's a little weird.
Yeah, I don't really know. I'm sure. Obviously, if you have it on your hard drive, it'll probably it'll most likely stay there. But yeah, I don't know if it'll still be available from either Sony servers or Konami servers or whatever. Yeah. Even if it's in your download list or anything like that.
It's been a while since I played PT. Does PT have any online component at all? Is there any comparison or leaderboards? You took this long to circle the hole a million times and like that? Okay.
No, it doesn't have any online functionality. So, but it just depends, I guess, whether it'll still stay whether you'll still be able to download it in the future or once it's removed.
One of us, I think, wrote the article, but I think once they say the last day for you to download it, once that it's never going to appear on the PlayStation Store.
Oh, okay.
So, unless you find some weird unlisted PS Store channel that you can click through and then download it that way, but
there'll be torrents for PT up on torrent or something. So, but I downloaded it last night because I was kind of worried. I was like, well, I have it on my like purchase list, but it's not on my.
It's not that big a game, so
Okay.
you know.
Well, yeah, it was only like 7 gigs, I think. I don't know.
I think it's even less than that, but
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
So-
It's just one hallway.
Yeah, it's 6 gigs of horror.
Mm.
And still our most
Yeah.
popular YouTube video is Al playing PT, and most of the time he's on his cell phone.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty much is like
it's hilarious. It's got over like 100,000 views, and most of the video is Al. I thought maybe Al didn't know he was on Twitch, but at some point he's just kind of on his phone reacting to something on his phone.
and then
he's
he
trying
took
to look at
something.
the guy.
He was more scared about like his work email than he was.
And like,
Yeah.
because I mean, I was watching the video, and anytime he's like something scary pops up, he's just kind of like, "Whoa!" Like
Yeah.
that's really
Ooh.
it.
Yeah, he even leaves the room for a second, and I'm just like, I was like, I'll
Like-
get the secret YouTube formula of getting over 100,000 hits.
Classic user engagement is go to the bathroom.
Yeah, I was just like, man, and we all try to figure out like, oh, how long do videos have to be to get really like optimum, like what's really gonna pull people in? And it's like, no, apparently it's just play PT and a wife beater while checking your BlackBerry, and you're good.
And then just go to the bathroom for like 10 minutes. And
Yeah.
So
And then
Check
walk-
Twitter, update
and then
Twitter.
yeah, and then kind of walks around like when he gets back settled in, he kind of walks in front of the system for a bit. And, like, all right.
Controllers, like,
Yeah, and he gets comfortable and like, and you know what? I saw the whole damn video. I was just like, this is amazing. I had a little window at work, and I was just fascinated, and I was just like, Al's a genius.
it was like a video game version of the Truman Show. You just watch this guy's life.
That's amazing. He was what was that the stupid PlayStation stream that they had? What was it called with the PlayStation Eye camera and stuff when the
Oh, Playroom.
Playroom. There we go.
Playroom,
Yes.
yeah.
That was that. That was Al doing that. That was amazing.
That was that game was actually the reason Twitch now has gaming talk shows on the Twitch channel, or like the Twitch, like it's a thing you can do now because people were using Playroom, because before you could only play games on Twitch.
Mm.
So if you weren't playing a game, you got banned. So people did the loophole through Playroom where they were still playing the game, but it was just showing their living room while they did like talk show stuff. Like Mega64 did this for like one of their podcast episodes.
Yeah,
Oh,
or
and-
Smoke Pot,
It got
or
way worse than talk
yeah,
shows.
there's most about soliciting prostitution, actual graphic sex, people just having racist rants, people beating their kids because they forgot
The
they were on
nuclear.
camera.
The
It was bad.
It's
But you could,
crazy time.
but yeah, if you had nothing to do on a Friday night, just go into the playroom and
And just
you lose a little bit of your soul.
It's like people watching, but in the worst way possible. Like,
Oh,
Really
Because they want you to watch them.
yes. Oh my God. And
What a
oh,
wonderful time to be alive.
yes, right. All right. So let's talk about something exciting that I love. Ryan, I know you are a huge Batman fan. You were a Batman fanatic.
yeah, sure.
Yeah, you did not tell me on that, Ryan. Again, you failed me, Ryan. You failed the city. But yeah, there's a new Batman.
I'm not the hero that DualShockers deserves. So.
You're not,
No.
honestly. There's a new Batman Arkham Knight trailer that shows Robin, Nightwing, and Catwoman in a new feature called Dual Play, where apparently you can switch off. So if it's Batman and Robin punching dudes, and then you can be Batman and then throw the guy in the air, then okay,
Yeah.
I'll be Robin, and then
Also
Robin will
punch
punch the guy.
It seems very GTA 5 a little bit. It's kind of like the equivalent of that, where you can switch characters. It seems like, so it seems cool. Like it's a nice, it's a nice twist, and at least it lets you play as characters that are on the disc and that you don't have to pay extra for, presumably. So
Ooh,
Definitely.
sick burn, yo.
like, I didn't mean it as a burn. I was just saying. It's like,
So did they show this in action, or did they just talk about it? Because I haven't watched the trailer.
They
so.
do show the trailer in action, so
they
you
showed it. Yeah.
Batman's
Okay,
starting
so is
combos
it-
and finishing them off.
So
with
is it
Robin.
like the GTA thing where it like goes like up into the map and then like pulls out?
No, I think the
goes
camera
somewhere else?
just does a quick pan to.
Yeah, I
Alright,
think it
now you're
just-
Robin for a second, and then okay, now you're
Okay.
Nightwing probably.
Yeah, I think it's not. I don't think it's gonna be like GTA in that sense, where it's like you're like you like zoom like Robin's like eating a sandwich all the way on the other side of Gotham. Like I think it's just like I think it's just like
Yeah,
I think
everyone's actively participating in the fight. It looks like.
yeah. I think it's just more like a quick change, like, kind of like in like the whatchamacallit, the heists, where like you can switch characters really quickly back and forth. It's probably gonna be something
Oh, yeah,
more
yeah.
along those lines.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
no co-op though. That was everyone's initial reaction. Was like, oh, this is co-op, or we could have a co-op mode. But they didn't say anything about that. I would love,
That would be cool.
especially one of those challenge rooms where you're sneaking around and like Ryan's up there as Robin and I'm Batman. And I'm just pulling people down and you're throwing batarangs at their face.
It'd be the Adventures of Bat George and Ryan Robin, like, fighting crime. So.
He knew his video series on DualShockers.com.
Yeah.
Ryan and Bat George. But yeah, it's more Batman. It looks like it did not get pushed back, so it's still coming out June 23rd. So yay, good job.
Been pushed back like
The week after E3, which is not a great time for us to launch. But
That is the best time to launch because I will be at home not walking, just recovering, and Batman is all need. I got exciting news for you guys.
Hmm.
We were like, man, you know what the PS4 doesn't have? Enough remastered games.
Oh,
There's
definitely not.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
You
guys can't even.
Games
You guys can't
on
even
the new
fake excitement at all. Like.
You know what I like? High-res textures on my rocks. And you know what game has high-res textures on the rocks?
I think
All
I
of
know.
them.
God of War 3, apparently.
Yes. God of War 3 remastered.
So it's really weird that they're choosing God of War 3 to, like... Because they're not... Are they even, like, doing... Like, is it just a remaster as in... Like, when they would take God of War 2 and be like, oh, now it's in 1080p or, like, that stuff. Or
yeah,
graphics at all, or is it just a higher res and more frames per second?
I would assume most likely it's gonna it's gonna be more just a high res God of War 3.
Why?
Well, Steven,
Why?
I'm glad you asked because it is actually both. The game will be running at 1080p at a crisp 1080p, and will run at 60 frames per second. See, everything you wanted. Remember when you were playing God of War 3 for the first time? You're like, man, if this was only remastered at 1080p at 60 frames per second, this would be the greatest game ever. So when you rip off Apollo's head, you're like, oh, you really get in there. Yeah, it's that. But,
I don't know why. I don't know why.
Oh, well, I know why, because no games are coming out, and this is their stopgap to make money, is by releasing garbage.
Yeah.
No, I mean, they can't. Yeah,
They have nothing for the fall.
I think it would be way too much of an investment for them to try and do God of War 1 and 2 to like completely redo them for for like a remake. And I think people wouldn't be as enthusiastic if it was like God of War Ascension. So I think God of War 3 is kind of the would be it makes the most sense, even though it is kind of weird that they don't at least include the other games, but. It makes the most sense for them to do it, and it'll probably it'll look and run a lot better than the first two. So. And plus, the previous games have been in like 4 or 5 collections and bundles. Like, they've been. There were like 3 other collections of old God of War games.
Are you saying you can't remastered, Ryan?
God.
That is true.
When we get to the PS5 generation where there's the remaster, I'm done. I'm out. That's it. It's like.
Will we even get to that? What about late PS4 generation?
Steven, don't even suggest it. You're gonna get a Sony executive's gonna be listening, and he's gonna be like, "That's a good idea. Let's do it."
Hear my voice.
Them guys from DualShockers are smart. Huh.
E3 2017, boys. Let's do it. So
it's releasing in July though, isn't it? Which is
it is, yeah.
Because that's not even like July is nice because nothing
June
else
16th.
is coming out in July. Oh, June. Oh, okay.
No, it's July.
I thought it was July.
It's July.
Something's coming out June 16th.
Yeah, I'm looking at it here. We'll hit local store shelves 2 days after North America on June 16th.
Wow. Okay.
okay.
Right during
That's
E3
E3 week.
Yeah, that's E3 week.
Source DualShockers.com.
Yeah.
But I think this kind of highlights the problem that we're having with the current generation is that there's nothing for as far as exclusive AAA titles on both consoles. Now that we're thinking about it here,
there will be in 2016 because everything's getting delayed. So
again.
Yeah,
Xbox has Halo and I guess Tomb Raider if you count it. It's like a time thing, but what else is they have one other
they have a new Forza this year too, right?
Forza, PlayStation's got Street Fighter at some point.
Tomb Raider doesn't have a day yet, right?
No, not yet. But I think it's fall.
Probably fall 2015, I think. fall.
Oh yeah,
this year.
Tomb Raider, I say is either October or September. I think it's going to be earlier than Halo because they're not going to release that after Halo.
No, they can't release it too close. No, well, Halo's in October, so yeah, I'm sure
Late
sure
October,
they.
yeah.
And they said
Yeah,
they
so-
said spring 16 for Uncharted, right?
Yes, like
Yeah.
March. I bet.
It was-
I bet
yeah, it was-
Uncharted's March.
But guys,
2016.
don't worry. There'll be an Uncharted remastered coming out.
No.
I don't.
That is going to be on
That's gonna be
stage
at their
at
E3.
E3.
It is.
Some guy's going to come out in a shirt and be like, "Hey guys,
We wanted to get you ready for the new game.
we wanted to get you." Yeah, that's going to be the hype speech.
I hope
That's always the conceit. It's always the conceit. Is. Ugh.
We wanted to get you ready.
Yeah.
Okay, because
So we had our guys at Sony Bend put together. Whatever, man.
I think it'll be Blue.
Definitive Uncharted edition.
I think it'll be Bluepoint that does it because they do good or like up-reses for Sony. But no, even though like Uncharted 2 is #1 for me, like just video game. Like I don't care enough to be like if they put it on the PS4, I'll just be like I guess I'll play it just because like it's just such a natural like oh I can just play this like naturally. But like there's so much apathy towards HD remasters. I think.
We know you guys loved The Last of Us Remastered. Well, now we want to make it in 4K, so now we're releasing The Last of Us Remastered HD.
No, it'll be The Last of Us Morpheus is what they'll push.
Yeah,
More integration. Is that going to be at E3? Do you think?
Probably.
probably. I would assume so. Yeah.
It's going to be because Sony always has it at their press conferences where they have like a 15-minute stretch or like a 10-minute stretch of where it's just like, all right, well this is bathroom break time. Where you can leave and go do something else and not pay
You mean-
attention.
The Wonder
You
Book
mean-
segment.
Yes, Wonder Book.
You mean where you watch a guy go like this for 15 minutes and you go?
We're like, yeah,
Oh, man.
that's a VR headset.
that's
He's
the
got it.
that's the future right there.
And we'll talk about more of our E3 predictions because there's going to be a lot more press conference. So I know before we go, I want to have this. That's my favorite time of year is when we get to make E3 predictions, and we have to talk about like how much Kinect will they mention, or will EA actually show anything like they did last year? Like last year was just like
Last year's
so
was
bad.
the worst.
you want
That
to see
was so
game
bad.
developers doing what they do best, develop, and then they're just basically just asking game developers, "You like making games?" Like, "Oh yeah, I love making games. I was making games since I was a child. I can't wait.
I think
Burnout
I was
Paradise, one of my
honestly-
favorite games. Here's a picture of an ATV and a."
I think I was honestly on my phone for like most of the EA conference last year because it was just like here's a game that's coming out in like 4 years. So
Yep,
it's like
we're sure
hey,
working on the
you guys-
game.
you guys like Mass Effect? Here's a concept drawing of a Torian, and that's it. It was like-
the galaxy map, guys. You like that map, right? Do, 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 do.
You,
It's like,
you like Mirror's Edge? Here's some line art of face on Mirror's Edge. It's like, what? Why? Why?
Is this game going to get canceled at some point? Probably. And
I
you know,
hope
it's
not.
like-
Oh, shit.
guys, remember that game none of you bought? Hey, Mirror's Edge. Here we go. Like, come on. I don't want to hear
Oh, I like Mirror's Edge.
it.
I did too, but
Both of you should have bought it.
I bought it. I did.
No,
I
You bought it used. I bet you bought it used, Ryan.
No, I bought
makes
it.
no
I bought
money
it
when you buy it
twice.
used.
I bought it twice, for the matter of fact.
No,
Your lip does this thing when you buy something used. I know it.
I know. I used to work at GameStop for
It's
2
not-
years. I managed a store for 2 years. I know that. All right.
it's not that you should have bought it twice. It's that you should have bought it a million times.
That was like
You
George's
should have pre-ordered it and bought it new.
right now. That was George's HD remastered thing.
Ryan, you didn't pre-order it enough, and you didn't buy it new enough. Okay. You
I'm
didn't buy-
sorry,
You didn't buy
I
the
only
special
bought-
edition. You screwed up.
I only bought 2 copies and not 20,000.
You.
No, it had to be
You're
like
part of the problem.
Mhm.
2 million.
Second hand. I don't have enough money to buy new. I'm gonna wait for word of mouth. What do you mean word of mouth? You don't believe us? It's a good game. I gotta wait for reviews. Fuck reviews. They're all corrupt. Buy Mirror's Edge. We're the publisher. We made the game. We know better. All right.
Obviously.
Oh my god.
Oh man, I am fired up today for God knows what reason. I know why I'm fired up.
Uh-oh.
Our last news piece here because I was missing something in my soul and my heart and I looked on the interwebs and I saw the answer, and it was not the DualShockers T-Public store where you can buy T-shirts for a reasonable price because that no longer exists. Thanks, Joel.
Aw.
Ladies and gentlemen, and I mean the viewers, not the ladies and gentlemen here because that's an inaccurate statement. Call of Duty Black Ops 3 is here.
I mean,
It is that time of year. It is out, and it's got robots.
I wish I could mimic me leaving the call right now.
So who saw? Did anyone actually see the trailer?
I did, yeah, I saw it.
I did.
Okay, so they were.
I don't know why.
So imagine Advanced Warfare.
More
That
advanced.
game, yes, that game again, more or less.
Yeah.
I mean, but no, except this time the guy has a robot. Oh wait, he had that in the last game, didn't he?
No, it was an exoskeleton.
It was the exosuit, but they're obviously they're
But the
kind
Boy
of
Baker character lost an arm, Ryan. All right, clearly
That's true.
you're not up on your Troy Baker performances. But yeah, the main character had a robot arm. But
Well, this time both of his arms are robots.
Oh, no, Stephen. One is a robot arm, but his robot arm shoots little robot bugs that turn people on fire.
Sorry, now you have my attention.
Yes, I thought I did. Yeah. So apparently,
Are you sitting down?
So internally, so no exoskeletons. It's all cybernetic stuff, and and I guess they're doing the whole Deus Ex kind of approach.
Yeah.
What do? You can't control the machines, but what the machines are us. Blah blah blah. Nano machines. And yeah, that is a game that is happening. Did we have a release date? Yes, it was November
6th.
Real quick, I'm gonna look at our review for Call of Duty and figure out when that actually came out.
It's always usually the first or second week of November.
Yeah,
Advanced Warfare was like November
like
14th.
they're like marketing campaigns usually like 9/10/11 or 9/11/10 or
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out if that was is that an exact year or a little
11.
less than a year?
November 11th, 2014 was when Advanced Warfare came out.
So okay, yeah, so we're just a little over a year. Oh, I wrote the review. How about that? What a cool guy.
yeah, it's always
always-
first week November.
Yeah.
And the reveal
They make sure they have like
is
7 weeks before holiday.
But yeah, who's ready for more Call of Duty, guys?
Yeah.
Joel.
I tried Advanced Warfare. Like I was like, I'm not gonna play.
And you loved every second.
No, it was fine. Kevin Spacey was cool. They didn't do enough with him though. I was very disappointed with that.
Really, I was so burnt out by Kevin. Whenever he came out, I'm like, all right, I've got 10 minutes to burn.
Why didn't you like Kevin Spacey?
Because he was just Kevin Spacey. He was.
But Kevin Spacey's so good. Where he's doing that
Kevin
very
Spacey,
intimidating monologue where he's like,
condescending.
I'm gonna get this done.
So you mean he was like, well, I just finished wrapping on House of Cards season 2.
Yes, exactly.
So
He's like, hey y'all, before I go, check out House of Cards season 3 on Netflix this February.
And you can watch me play on my PS Vita.
oh my god.
Is that a
No,
PS Vita?
He went with iPad this season. You know, he was
that's true.
Monument Valley,
Monument Valley.
all day, every day. So
I have to admit, that was an effective marketing scheme for Monument Valley, because I almost bought it after watching House of Cards.
You know your marketing is effective when you almost buy something.
Yes, exactly. It was pretty effective, because usually I just don't care. But this time I was like, because last time he was playing God of War Ascension online. Who plays God of War Ascension online?
And then he was mad. And then he got mad because the internet wasn't working or something.
Yeah,
they
the internet wasn't
working. They were. I think he was Secret Service. The Secret Service were like.
Yeah, because he became vice president,
yes.
So they were like securing the house, and so they cut off his internet, and he's like, I can't play online? Acceptable. And then he went back to his rowing machine.
So you know what it was? It was there's one scene in Advanced Warfare, and spoiler, when where he's addressing the UN, like the big heel turn when he was like, "Oh man, you reveal stuff as the bad guy." Even though I knew this the whole time. He was like, when people ask me, "Was I making special weapons that target people's DNA?" and he's like, "No,
yes,
I've already made it."
Oh yeah.
And I was just like, "Oh."
Yeah, that part was dumb because it tried to be like a dramatic shift of like, oh man, he's the villain. It's like we knew he was the villain.
Yeah.
You pushed him in the marketing material as the villain. It's like how dumb. Like it was that part was bad. But Kevin Spacey as himself. I don't know. Do you think they'll do another celebrity tie-in in like the next Sledgehammer game? I kind of hope they do.
Sure. I mean, they added John Malkovich and Bill Paxton to like the zombies DLC, so I'm sure.
Which is
I'm sure they'll come up. Yeah.
They can do it again.
So I'm sure one of the mission givers or the general guy yelling at you would be like Gary Oldman or something again. Like
they always, I mean, the Treyarch, like, I think Treyarch doesn't really do as much of that, in their games, but they always still get some. They always get some really big voice talent because they've had Gary Oldman, they've had Sam Worthington, they had Michael Rooker for Black Ops 2. So I'm sure they'll get some, some new people doing voice work and stuff.
In Treyarch's defense, they've actually put out the best story Call of Duty game.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Yes.
I feel
Treyarch
like
is my favorite Call of Duty.
I feel like
Modern
Modern Warfare, I feel like started off strong and then just slowly went down the mediocrity pit with their story, where they just stopped trying. And I feel like Black Ops though did actually kind of weave a pretty interesting story.
Yeah, I mean, Modern Warfare was always the kind of Fox News dartboard of terror terms, where it's just drones, EMPs, biological warfare, sure, insurgents, no,
the fourth was good. The fourth was good. The second was just way too all over the place. The third, I just didn't care about.
Yeah,
World at War.
The three just lost me.
I mean,
And then,
Black Ops, you killed Castro. I was like, alright, that's kind of cool.
Well, no, you don't kill him. You kill his body.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Spoilers.
Spoilers.
Oh, right.
Spoilers.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You have to follow the lore, Joel, of Call of Duty. The intricate story.
They have the same writers from CD Projekt Red, right?
Probably.
Oh yeah, totally. They got books, novels. These are all actually adaptations of novels. Released in the 1970s, pretty much.
Oh man, I am. On that note, I'm done with news.
Yeah.
You don't want to keep talking about Call of Duty?
No.
I'm telling you, every year around April, they always reveal it either on the NBA.
The finals, yeah.
Yeah, it's always the playoffs.
I mean, that's their demo. That's the demo of who plays their games, who plays them competitively.
And then the gameplay reveal is at Microsoft's E3 press conference.
Yep.
So I don't know.
Joel, how are you?
Good.
Yaris was supposed to be here. You need to go yell at him. I don't know what happened, but in lieu of that,
he found a house. So he's going to check it out. He's going to check it out right now.
He's living in it right now.
I literally had something in the barrel to do something funny, or I thought was funny, and then totally forgot about it. So I was just like, Joel, tell me what you're playing, Joel. Just let me recover for a second.
I'm breaking the website. That's what I'm playing. I'm playing Everyone Hates Us for making an all-white website that was mobile first.
Yeah, and quick note.
Fine.
And quick note, people, we have been listening, so you'll notice over time the website has been changing. The posts look different now. I think the posts actually look great. When you click on, I think it actually looks real good. So well
They
done.
look like some big-ass monitors. I like it. That was the point.
Yeah.
I think everyone was upset. They were like, "Oh, the white is too harsh," and I get it. I guess sometimes things when you're conceptualizing them and trying to piece them together, it can kind of get messed up a little bit along the way. So it was good though. We needed the feedback. That's why Yaris wrote that post. So thanks to everybody that gave us that feedback. We needed it.
Yeah.
The people that were like, "I'm never coming back here again," that was a bit extreme. But
They probably came back the next day.
I'm sure they did. But no, I mean we took a lot of that feedback and we're gonna address things accordingly. So it's not done, just like software, it's never finished, right?
Yeah, and like I said, we encourage your feedback. So tweet at us, email us, anything fishy, weird you see on the site. Let us know.
So
we'll put it to the attention of someone who will probably take care of it.
Yeah,
I mean, I won't fix the site.
Random one. We had like a bug where some aggressive ad was sending people out of mobile to the App Store, like something crazy was happening, and I hadn't seen it, but people were bringing it up to my attention. I thought they were I was like, no, that's not happening, until it finally happened to me, and then so then we got that fixed. So again, we take that feedback seriously, and we want to make sure the site's running the way it should be running for you guys. So that's what I've been playing, is unbreaking the site. Site fixing. Yeah.
Ryan, what's taking up your time? What are you doing?
I finished Bloodborne finally, so I was very happy to get through that. So it was a good time. I'm gonna I would like to go back and play it again, but I'm gonna save that for another time. But what's that?
You gonna platinum it?
Maybe, I don't know. If I'm feeling brave enough, that's I'll put on my big boy pants and do that at some point. So, but anyway, no. Actually, today I got the new. So George, I'm sorry, I'm gonna talk about Smash Brothers for like 30 seconds.
What's wrong with Smash Smash Brothers.
Go.
I got the, I got the new.
Why doesn't he like Smash Brothers?
Because I talk about it all the time, and you hate
Oh,
it.
okay.
So,
Yeah,
anyway,
that makes sense.
I got the. I can't even talk now. I got
You want
the.
to
New,
talk about the patch notes?
No, I got the new Mewtwo DLC that came out today. So I've been playing a little bit of Mewtwo, and then finally I've been playing Shovel Knight for a review on PS4 and Vita, mostly Vita, but also a little bit PS4. So I'm done, George. I'm done talking about Smash Brothers. So it's like, So right now it's just Shovel Knight. So.
Oh,
Awesome.
very good.
Mr. Steven, newest addition to DualShockers.com, our weekend writer. So if you see anything on the weekend, blame Steven. What have you been playing?
So I recently purchased an Xbox One. I took advantage of the trade in your old console to get like 125 credit towards it, and I was like,
nice.
Sweet.
I don't play my 360 anymore. I usually am very adamant about not trading in old consoles and old games, but I was kind of like, I just don't like. Am I realistically ever going to play or touch this console again? I was like, probably not. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just take advantage of it. Today, Best Buy is offering the same deal, but you get 175 credit towards the Xbox One. So I'm just like, what? Like, but it's fine. It's whatever. I purchased State of Decay. I played like an hour or two of that today. It's really good. I like it.
Awesome game. I love that game.
Yeah, there's actually there's a good deal. I think it's either at Best Buy or Amazon where they're offering Sunset Overdrive for $25. So if you're looking for that, that's a great deal.
Yeah,
like
that's on my list.
I don't have a Xbox One, but that's like the game I'd want to play most on Xbox. I think now.
I like Insomniac's past games, especially with Ratchet and Clank, and the Sunset Overdrive looked like Ratchet and Clank, except
Totally, you'll get that. You'll get that vibe. It's a fun game. Game I reviewed.
Oh, okay. But other than State of Decay, I've been playing Halo Master Chief Collection because I got the bundle for it, and the online works fine. Like, it's not as bad as like, people. Yeah, it's not as bad as some people want you to believe. I don't think.
Well, you weren't there from the start.
No, that's true.
I think like Joel, I remember you reviewed Halo, and you were in that kind of that press group that got to play the game when it worked.
Yeah, listen, I knew it was going to have issues. I knew it was going to have issues.
Like most online games at launch.
Like most online games at launch. I didn't think they were going to last this long, but 343 Studios was... listen, you got to give them credit for the transparency since launch.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like, it's not like... It wasn't like a DICE scenario with Battlefield 4 that was just like not responding to community, not fixing things. I mean, they were
buy our DLC.
transparent. They were transparent. Yeah, exactly. Buy our DLC. Buy our China Rising pack. No, I mean 343 Studios were legit, and they were that way since launch, and they were that way during the review process as well. So you know what? I'd rather you be honest with me. If you're getting my money, if I'm a consumer, you're getting my money. Be honest with me up front, so I know what's going on. And I think they've done that well, and they're going to give that upcoming pack for free, right?
For Halo 3 ODST, yeah. If you want to get original people,
it's only free if you purchased it before a certain date, so I'm not going to get it, unfortunately.
Yeah,
it was the first month, I believe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and ODST, they'll be coming next month. ODST and that new map pack, I think that's coming out as well.
I think the map actually is available to everyone, but the
ODST is
yeah.
I think that's pretty cool.
I like the Halo Master Chief Collection. I like the online. I love Halo Online. I've always loved it, even though I've mostly played Sony consoles most of the time. But man, I love that. Just like jumping up in melee and battle rifle, just like doing all that type of stuff.
Wait till you play Halo 5 Guardians. I played the beta, and you got that stupid like ground pound from the air.
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Awesome.
So crazy.
So good.
Yeah, but other than that, I've been replaying Alien Isolation. I beat it like a month ago, and then I started replaying it because I love that game so much.
It's a good one, yeah.
I think it's mostly just because I love the movie so much that like it just kind of transitions over to the game because it's such a faithful like reproduction of.
Yeah, that's easily like the best aspect of that game. I feel like is just because it recreates the movie so well. Like even if it is like 10 hours too long, it's still really great. So
it's pretty long, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm looking forward to the Old Blood, like I said. But that Witcher hype, it's real.
That Witcher hype is real, son.
It's so real.
Let me tell you about that Witcher hype. Those
Oh,
Griffins.
man.
Oh man, I can't wait. And
It's so good.
me, what I've been playing, I think I've been kind of fitzing around with Bloodborne. I'm kind of not burnt out, but I'm just kind of done with it. But I do come back and futz around with it. What else am I playing? I'm also playing I Am Bread for review, which is
Oh,
fun game. So keep an eye out for that review there.
voiced by
And
Troy Baker.
Voiced by Troy Baker. Yes.
It's voiced by Troy. Yeah.
Yes.
So I have a question about Bloodborne for those of you who have played it.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
have you ever run into the part where you kind of hit a wall, but it's not like a boss wall. It's more like
Yes.
That's
it's
right.
more like a okay. It's for me. It's more of a not a boss wall, but it's more of a I don't know where to go.
That's exactly where I am. I just killed the
Okay.
witches of
Yes.
Witches of Eastwick. I don't know who.
The witches of Hemwick. Yeah, there are a couple points in the game I think where you can kind of go in a bunch of different directions. The main thing I would just say is just to keep searching the environments because there are lots of little nooks and crannies where you can find hidden pathways, and sometimes like there are some routes that are locked to you because you don't have like a certain key or like some kind of item to get you through. So I think it's just kind of I think like with Bloodborne, I definitely did. There were a lot of points where I kind of went to look, for tips from the community or like, try to find guides or whatever. Where it was like, okay, after this, you can go here, or here, whatever you decide to do. So I think for those games, it's perfectly okay. Like I know a lot of like, my friends that are Dark Souls players said that's what they relied on to get through those games. So
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm at that wall where I'm just kind of like I have no idea what I'm doing.
yeah,
Yeah. That I hit that once, and it was in the main church right after you beat Father Gascon. Who, oh man, that guy!
yeah.
I wanted to reach through the TV monitor and strangle him.
See, the trick
but
of
right
Father
after-
Gascon is you got to get the hunter's axe, use the other in its other
Oh.
form, and then just stand
No.
behind a gravestone, and he just
Oh.
he gets locked in behind you. So you just got to keep your distance, and you literally just swing away, take a step back, have him hit, then you swing away, have him step back. Because every time he shoots, it actually hits the gravestone, doesn't hit you. So that's how I did it for that first form before he turns into a werewolf, and then you can kind of cheese it that way too when he's a werewolf, but.
So now we know one of our staff members endorses cheating in video games.
It's in the game. It's in the game, all right? They don't want me to
But yeah,
put it in.
There's that one door in that church on the right that doesn't unlock until you beat a boss, and I beat that boss, and then I went back, and I could not find where to advance, and then one of my friends texted me saying, it's the door, and I looked at the door, and it was open, and I was like, wow, I don't know how I missed that. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. And then there's
the
the key that you pay for 10,000 souls that opens up the Grand Cathedral, and you can fight the Vicar Emilia there, who's kind of a bad person.
Oh yeah, I did that.
But yeah, outside of that, I've had a busy week, so just those two games for now. I'm trying to get back into Star Wars: The Old Republic and playing with. Me and Yaris want to get together and do some. We're gonna figure out what we can do as far as the features concerned. So maybe George and Yaris take over the galaxy, some sort of fun thing where we do.
They have an update coming out for that, I think.
Probably.
Rise of the Emperor. I had a bookmark for it because I was going to write about it later, but I never got around to it.
But yes, I kicked the bejesus out of bad Revan, and now he's a good Revan. At some point, they just kind of said, whatever, it's Star Wars. You're going to buy it because it has lightsabers, so who cares what the lore is. But yeah, the Emperor wakes up, and he is pissed.
Yeah, that's the next update.
The gist of the story. But yeah, that's all I've been playing. Unfortunately, no commercial because we have no T-shirt site on the site anymore. Thanks, Joel, again. Thanks, Obama. But then that's it. Thank you guys for watching and listening. We are on SoundCloud. We are on iTunes now. Apparently, we've been on iTunes for weeks and we didn't know, but we are on iTunes. So make sure you subscribe and give me just give us 5 stars. Even if you're lying, just do me the solid, and I'll owe you one, and just give me the 5 damn stars for the thing. And I was joined this week by Mr. Joel Tavares.
See you later, yo.
Our expert prophecy soothsayer, future man, Ryan.
Goodbye, Silent Hills. You will be missed very dearly.
And newest member and hopefully returning guest to the ShockCast, Steven Santana. Thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I hope to be on again soon.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. All right. Okay, we can swing that. And me, I was and will always be George Jimenez, and you can find us at DualShockers.com and check out our YouTubes where I do dumb videos about video games. And thanks again, guys, for watching and listening. You are beautiful, handsome, attractive, smart people. Thanks again for watching. Bye, guys.